So once you've taken it out of the fridge, stick a spoon in there, turn it on so it's zeroed. Alright, I can use filtered water that you want to add. $50 grams of water. Give it a good stir. And then 50 of flour, equal parts flour and water to feed your starter. So 50 plus 50 is 100 Scarlet agrees. I go through a lot of spoons doing this, but that's why I have a dishwasher. Alright, gently put the lid back on and wait some hours. Hey Google, what's the time?
It's 8:06.
So we'll come back in the afternoon. Okay, so here's the starter all bubbly, as you can see. Now I've got the bowl in there and the spoon I'm going to use, and just tear it off to 0. So what we put in was 50 of water and 50 of flour, which was 100. I'm going to take out 100, and it just helps to include the weight of the spoon when you tear it off, so you don't have to just keep wiping things down. 106, good enough. So this starter just goes back in the fridge. It's been a little bit fed and it's happy. So we have first 30, 100 of starter, and we're going to add another 50 of water. And 50 of flour. So I'm using wholemeal flour for the starter part. And we stir it together. Just until it forms a nice little wet mess. Little silicone spatulas are really good. A spoon will do. And then Glad wrap, or what I've got is a food grade shower cap. And we wait till tomorrow morning. Hey Google, what's the time?
It's 6:23.
There you go. Okay, so it's the next morning. This is our somewhat bubbly, been up and down starter. So there's 200 grams of starter in this bowl, give or take. Just going to zero my scale. So we want 200 of starter, 300 of water. And you can see the starter floating up, which is a good sign. And stir that in. And at this point I add the salt, just because otherwise I forget. So about 10 grams. Just stir this to thin down all the liquidiness. And then we re-zero. Minutes, 500 of flour. A little flour bin. Don't need the scales. So this basically just comes together into a bit of a wet mess. Again, silicone spatulas are really good because then you can get around the sides, scrape everything down. The downside is they're a bit flexible and will flick flour at you. So I just want to bring it together enough to get it to look like that. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Starting now.
We'll come back in 30 minutes and give it a bit of a fold and stretch for about a minute, and then we wait. Okay, it was 30 and a few minutes. I was just feeding Scarlett. So it looks like that. Hands are clean, I hope. Just basically pull it out and fold it over itself. Rotate 90 degrees. Pull it out, fold it over itself. This could be quite messy, or sticky, or otherwise. But what you're doing is just making sure any dry bit of flour on the outside has now been incorporated, so you're just going to get lumps of dry flour. And something gluten, something. But really, I'm just going to do this until I find that timer gets up to about a minute. Alright. It's about 30 seconds of that. Hands are all messy, nothing too bad. Hey Google, what's the time?
It's 7:34.
So, depending on how warm it is and how much this rises, we'll get ready to bake at about 1:30. Okay. So, you can kind of see that's wasn't a lot. It's almost too much. But, as you'll realise, the bread doesn't care. So a little bit stuck on there, just scrape that up. So I've already floured my work surface. Very sticky dough. all I do is just kind of pull it out, wrap it back on itself. Kind of sticks to you a bit, get some flour in there. Surface starts to tighten up. And eventually you can form a little dough ball like that. Flour the top of it. Pre-prepared just some baking paper in a bowl. Sit it in there like such. And say, hey Google, set a timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now.
And then in 20 minutes I'll turn the oven on and preheat for 20 minutes. I'll just talk quickly about the oven setup. So that's just a pot I bought from Aldi for 25 bucks, which we're going to have fairly low because you just need that kind of headspace. It's a kind of mid-sized pot. The pizza stone is optional, it just lives there. And yeah, we're going to heat the oven up to 220 Celsius in about 20 minutes and then let that heat for 20 minutes so it's ripping hot. And then, yeah, you'll see what happens. Okay, so the bread has been kind of just sitting there chilling for about, I don't know, 40 minutes, let's say. 20 minutes just before I turn the oven on, and another 20 minutes since I turned the oven on. See if this works. Hot. So the pot is nice and hot. Drop bread in, and then we're just going to use a steak knife to do a nice little pattern in the top. I find cutting a square works well. As you can see there, the steak knife works really easily. You don't need any specialist equipment, and then we'll pop it in the oven. Don't forget to put your gloves back on. Okay. So that's about 225, 230 in mine. It's in there down the bottom. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, and we're starting now.
So it'll be 30 with the lid on and then another 20 with the lid off. See you in half an hour. So it's been 50 minutes in the oven, 30 with the lid on and 20 with the lid off. Rotated it once halfway, steaming hot. Close that, turn it off. And pop out our bread. Ooh. Et voila. Good hollow sound. Good looking bread of sorts. Just a demonstration of effectively trying to do the minimal amount of work and then going from there. So about a day or so in total, time-wise, but really only about 10 minutes of actual work. And I'll learn how to stitch all these videos together into one thing. Important to let this rest for 1 hour. Hey Google, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, and that's starting now.
And then that's right. Butter and go.